Another episode, another day closer to Flight 10. What's the latest with Booster 16 and whatever ship will launch with it? Are multiple Giga Bays on one site going to happen and a Florida launch site may get 4 Starship towers? And we've got a big update on New Glenn. This video is sponsored by Simply Safe. There is no safe like Simply Safe. My name is Felix, welcome to What About It, let's dive right in. Starship updates. What a week it's been. While Starbase gears up for Flight 10 with Booster 16 and either Ship 36 or 37, there's been plenty of activity going on regarding Starship to keep us satisfied until it launches again. We're operating on a cadence of one launch every 3 to 4 weeks, so we'll get through Flight 12 before the end of the summer? We're about 2 weeks removed from Flight 9 in Starbase, and it only took 10 days before SpaceX had not only rolled Booster 16 to the pad, but had static fired it. The crews at the pad did a full height destack of Booster 16. What does that mean? That means they have lifted it all the way to the top into a position resembling that of a booster catch before lowering it onto the transport stand. While there appeared to be some out-of-the-ordinary wobbles at one point, all eventually went fine. The booster was then rolled back to Mega Bay 1 for final checkouts before Flight 10. This brings up an interesting conundrum for this rapid cadence for Flights 10, 11 and 12. What booster are they going to use? Let's review what hardware SpaceX has available. Booster 14-2 is obviously gone now. May it rest in pieces at the bottom of the Gulf. So what else is there? Booster 17 is parked at the Rocket Garden, but does that mean it's out of commission? Or is the Rocket Garden just storage? Has it become a space hardware parking lot for ships or boosters to wait for their turn? We've yet to see SpaceX pluck a booster from its stand back there and roll it back out to the pad. Will Booster 17 be the first? What about Booster 15-1 as well? It's already been flown on Flight 8 and has mostly been sitting in Mega Bay 1, tucked away in the back corner. A lineup of Booster 16, Booster 15-1 and Booster 17 could get us through the final Block 2 ship prototypes and allow time for Booster 18 to be fully stacked and tested out. Booster 18 is the first Block 3 Super Heavy booster prototype that will potentially feature a host of changes from the previous iteration. How far along is Booster 18 anyway? Based on the number of ring segments we've seen rolled into Mega Bay 1, it looks like it has about 19 ring segments stacked, while a finished booster has 36. When will we see it roll out for the first time? What's your best guess? Let me know in the comments. Over at Massey's, there's more development on the Block 3 booster front as Booster 18-1 has received a shiny new hat. Or torture crown if you prefer. They call it the Can Crusher for a reason, and Booster 18-1 is about to find out why. In the past, test tanks here underwent rigorous stress testing as the crews tested to see how much outside pressure the test tank could take before failure. While we all hope for the best for Booster 18-1, it is just a test article, so it won't be entirely surprising if SpaceX treats it like a soda can. If it's too emotional for you, just turn your head and look the other way. We won't judge. But if you want to turn your head from the air and see progress up close and personal, check out redlineheli.com/Felix for a once-in-a-lifetime experience and $25 off flying in a helicopter above Starbase. The Redline helicopter team is waiting for you. They'll show you the same views our photographer gets on his Starbase flights. Give it a try. Back at the production site, the new clearing for the Giga Bay has us thinking. If SpaceX one day is going to pump out thousands of Starships a year, they are going to need a lot more space to do it. That's what the Giga Bay is all about, and it's beyond exciting that Starbase and Florida are both getting one. But let's be honest, do we really think they are going to stop at one? The goals and aspirations simply don't line up with each site having just one Giga Bay. No, we need more. After the term Giga comes Terra and then Peta after that. Each new term is equal to 1,000 times the size. While we're not quite to that level of expansion, seriously imagining 1,000 gigabays actually is incomprehensible big. Even just 2 or 3 gigabays in one area would be insanely huge. Elliot has put together a few graphics showing us what 3 gigabays in Starbase hypothetically might look like, and it is exciting. If we can imagine for a minute each gigabay having capacity for 12 ship and 12 booster prototypes in it, 3 would mean SpaceX could have up to 36 prototypes of each ready at a time. SpaceX likely won't need as many super heavy boosters since they'll be reusable, so we can even consider a situation where each Giga Bay holds something like 18 ships to 6 boosters, a 3-to-1 ratio instead of 1-to-1. The whole point of this fun thought exercise is to get you to think bigger. SpaceX is fully capable of doing this, and the fact that they are even constructing 1 Giga Bay is proof that they can make it happen. If you're skeptical, that is understandable, but just ask yourself, why would they stop at 1? That clearly won't allow for enough scaling for 1,000 ships. That is the benchmark. We were up in the air again, as well as Mauricio from RGV Aerial. Judging from some of these shots, one can also conclude that maybe Starbase would only have room for 1 more Giga Bay, not 2 additional ones. Even still, that is a massive ramp up in production capacity than what they have now. That's still potentially at least 24 spots, each for boosters and ships. In the last episode, we reported on Slick 37 in Florida. It was some of the most exciting Starship news we've had in a while. It's the first Starship exclusive launch site basically anywhere outside Starbase, and it will likely serve as the Space Force's main Starship hub as well. And oh boy, were you busy, I got so many comments. We reported that the site would include 2 launch towers, but upon closer inspection of the Environmental Impact Statement, or EIS, you can see that there's the possibility for more. In fact, SpaceX has already been given a limited entry right to Slick 37 right after the episode was released, and ground crews are already preparing to remove the Delta IV structures. The Environmental Impact Statement says explicitly 2 concrete landing pads, approximately 225 feet in diameter, could be constructed on the site if space allows within Slick 37. Here are 3 screenshots from Google Maps. One shows Starbase, one shows Pad 39A, and one shows Slick 37. All 3 are at the same zoom level. This gives you a good perspective on how large Slick 37 actually is. It's about 2 to 3 times the surface area of the Starship launch site at least. So yes, it would have the space. But first, let's talk about safety at your own launch facility. Living out in the middle of nowhere has its perks: peace, space, and way too many plants the local deer think we planted just for them. We even caught this little plant thief on camera last week. So yeah, security here, not just about burglars. It's about protecting what matters, from family to strawberries. That's why we use Simply Safe, the award-winning home security system that gives us peace of mind even when we're off-grid. And now, with their new Active Guard outdoor protection, we don't just react, we prevent. The AI-powered cameras can tell a curious neighbor from an actual intruder, and the monitoring agents can talk to them, set off alarms, or call the police before anything happens. Inside the house, we've got entry sensors, water and temperature sensors, super helpful when you're away and Florida decides to switch seasons midday. And I manage it all right from the Simply Safe app. Arm, disarm, check the feed anytime, anywhere. We've got kids, pets, and tons of gear we use for filming, so knowing the house is protected, even when we're away on shots or launch days, gives real peace of mind. And the motion sensors are great at ignoring the dog, but catching anything unusual, and the app lets us check in no matter where we are. There are no long-term contracts, just plans starting at around $1 per day, and yes, you can set it up yourself. Because I want you to feel just as safe as we do, we've teamed up with Simply Safe to offer you an exclusive deal. Save 50% on your Simply Safe security system when you sign up for a professional monitoring plan and get your first month's free. Visit simplysafe.com/Felix to customize yours. There is no safe like Simply Safe. Alright, back to SpaceX's plans for the next year, 2 concrete landing pads at Slick 37. Now, here comes the crazy part. Furthermore, the EIS clarifies that 2 catch towers would be placed on the landing pads. While the operative word here is could, this is worth a closer look. We're talking about potentially 4 towers at a single site. Can you imagine the bus of dual Starship launches and landings within a few minutes at one location? And maybe there's even another one preparing for launch just up at the coast at LC-39A. 18 sonic booms, anyone? And plenty of you had one specific question. Why make catch towers if you have 2 towers already? The answer is between the lines. Musk has already stated in the last Mars update that the heat shield is a tremendously difficult thing to develop. Rapid reuse is extremely difficult.
It is an achievable thing, so we're not trying to do something that isn't achievable. It is within the realm of physics to get this done, just an extraordinarily difficult thing to get done.
And they want to use the same shield for ships on Mars and Earth.
We tested very rigorously in a CO2 atmosphere because it's got to work not just for Earth, but also for Mars.
If Musk knows it, SpaceX at large does too. My guess is that if rapid reuse, especially on the ship, takes more time to get right, 2 catch towers enable SpaceX to separate the booster from the ship after the launch. The booster returns to the launch pad for rapid reuse as a new ship is stacked on top. The ship, on the other hand, returns to the catch tower, ready to be transported back for refurbishment. At first, that might be the way to achieve a faster launch cadence. And then there is the pad at Starbase. 4 or 5 sites for Starship launches, and that's just the beginning over the next few years. Again, the point of this is to help you understand that these aren't just daydreams anymore. They are real things, specifically being planned and notated in official documents for government launch sites, and again, SpaceX crews are already clearing Slick 37 as you watch this video. Whatever Snuffer's Starship may be enduring now in its early testing phases clearly are not changing the bigger picture. The powers that be are planning fully built out super Starship sites. Get ready for it. Do not trust any random headline you find online, watch why. We'll make very sure to bring things into relevant context. Reporting about these things in a true and well-researched way is a team effort. Even if you don't know it yet, you are very much a part of this team and can help me out easily. Our channel metrics show over 4 million returning monthly viewers who have not subscribed yet. Help ensure that we can keep reporting, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our updates. Like this video if you appreciate the content and become a wise supporter for extra content. Secure your access to up to 7 picture galleries per week, satellite, aerial and ground photos and 3D animations. Chat with me and gain more insights on the topic you love. The entire team is waiting for you, you rock! Axiom Space is getting closer and closer to its 4th private mission to the International Space Station. The crew of AX4 will spend roughly 2 to 3 weeks conducting research and international outreach. While this marks another milestone for Axiom, what sets this mission apart is who's flying. For the first time, all 4 astronauts on board are sponsored by their national governments. Commanding the mission is Peggy Whitson, a veteran NASA astronaut now working with Axiom. She's one of the most experienced astronauts in history and has already logged more than 600 days in space. Wow! Joining her are 3 first-time space travelers representing India, Poland and Hungary. From India, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is a test pilot backed in part by ISRO. Poland is sending Slavoj Uznansky, an ESA-affiliated engineer and the country's first astronaut to reach orbit since 1978. And from Hungary, Tibor Kapu will make the country's first human spaceflight since 1980. Each of these astronauts went through nearly a year of intensive training with over 700 hours of preparation time for the mission. The cost per seat on AX4 is estimated to be around $70 million. That includes the launch itself, months of astronaut training, life support, access to the ISS, and full mission support. Axiom has said the ticket price reflects the fact that this is not a space tourism experience. These are fully fledged astronauts flying real missions with research and diplomatic objectives. During their stay on the station, the AX4 crew will support over 60 science experiments spanning 31 countries. These include life science investigations, Earth observation studies, and materials testing designed not only to produce valuable data, but to help build momentum for a future where LEO operations become commercially routine. With the ISS expected to retire by the early 2030s, Axiom is also building its own commercial space station to take its place. Missions like AX4 are the proving ground for that vision, a world where space is not just visited, but operated like an international laboratory in orbit. Blue Origin has finally announced that the second flight of its New Glenn rocket is targeting no earlier than August 15th. The update came directly from CEO Dave Limp, who confirmed that one of the key objectives will be to land and recover the first stage booster. Same as on the last flight. New Glenn's first flight in January of this year was a major milestone for the company. After years of development, the rocket successfully reached space and completed a full mission profile. However, the booster was never seen again and was not recovered. While Blue Origin did want to recover the booster on the first flight, they also stated that this was a very ambitious goal for a maiden launch. Same as SpaceX and Falcon 9 for their first recovery try, they did not succeed. According to Limp, the booster for the second flight has been named Never Tell Me the Odds, and it is a fitting name. It will again attempt a full return and landing. He described the recovery goal as requiring a little bit of luck and a lot of excellent execution. A successful landing would mark a major breakthrough for Blue Origin. Promising reusability and actually achieving it are two separate things. The booster assigned to this mission completed hot fire testing in April. Limp also said the company is on track to produce 8 New Glenn Stage 2 units this year, signaling a shift from one-off test articles to regular production flow. Another critical payload expected on this mission is NASA's Escapade spacecraft. These twin probes will study how Mars's atmosphere interacts with solar winds, shedding some light on why it lost its atmosphere in the first place and its effects on Mars today. Originally scheduled to launch with another provider, Escapade was reassigned to New Glenn, making this a high-profile test not just for Blue Origin's hardware, but for its ability to support deep space science missions. I am genuinely excited that New Glenn was able to snatch this mission for Flight 2. In other news, Starliner is still grounded. And now, nearly a year after Boeing's first crewed test flight, there is still no confirmed timeline for when it might fly again, or whether astronauts will even be on board. The news embargo from Boeing is so tight that during the press conference after the last flight, Boeing officials were not present at all. The June 2024 test flight started with momentum as Boeing's Starliner capsule launched with NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, docked to the International Space Station and spent 8 days in orbit. But helium leaks and thruster problems forced mission control to delay the return, and by the time the crew came home, they weren't riding Starliner anymore. They hitched a ride back on a SpaceX Crew Dragon. Starliner stayed attached to the ISS for almost 9 months. That's a little bit more than 8 days. And while both astronauts later praised the spacecraft and said they'd fly it again, the handoff to Dragon was a clear signal. Starliner still isn't ready for regular crew missions after years of delays. But time doesn't stand still for Starliner. Since then, Boeing and NASA have spent months digging into what went wrong. Engineers have been testing the propulsion system on the ground and in flight, trying to recreate the conditions that triggered the thruster failures. That work is still ongoing, and until there is confidence in the system, no one's flying Starliner again. As of now, NASA says the next flight could happen in early 2026, but even that's not locked in as the agency still hasn't decided whether it will carry astronauts or fly uncrewed as a test article. That decision matters because a successful crewed mission could restore momentum and put Starliner on track to support regular ISS rotations. But an accident involving astronauts or even another uncrewed flight would mean more delays, more scrutiny, and less time to prove the system before the ISS retires. Which isn't too far in the future anymore. That's the real tension here, because SpaceX has already flown dozens of astronauts with Crew Dragon, including multiple rotations, private missions, and emergency returns. Starliner, by contrast, hasn't completed a single round trip with astronauts from launch to landing. For NASA, the goal is still redundancy. Starliner isn't completely finished yet, but the window is narrowing. With ISS retirement on the horizon, Boeing is running out of time to prove Starliner deserves a role in the future of human spaceflight. Now let's go somewhere far, far away. Something strange is happening on Titan. To give you some background, Titan is the largest moon of Saturn and the second largest in our entire solar system. Notably, it boasts a thicker atmosphere than Earth. And it stands out as the only celestial body other than our planet with confirmed stable bodies of liquid on its surface. For the first time, scientists using the James Webb Space Telescope in coordination with the Keck Observatory in Hawaii have now observed real-time cloud convection in Titan's northern hemisphere. And this isn't just a pretty picture, it's a key clue about how Titan's weather actually works. Yeah, a moon with actual weather. Most of Titan's methane lakes and seas are in the north. But until now, it wasn't entirely clear how those lakes stay full. The new data suggests that Titan experiences periodic storms, complete with methane rainfall that help replenish its surface reservoirs. That means Titan's weather is active, seasonal, and still evolving. So, like Earth's water cycle, Titan basically has a methane cycle. As a fun fact, methane is odorless. What you can smell in commercially distributed natural gas is sulfur, added by the industry to make you able to smell a gas leak. But there is more. Webb also used its MIRI instrument, which is both a camera and a spectrometer, to detect a carbon-containing molecule that has never been seen on Titan before. That is significant because Titan already has a rich organic chemistry, and we previously were unsure about how heavier hydrocarbons like ethane were forming in its atmosphere. Each new molecule brings us one step closer to understanding whether the building blocks of life could emerge in places very different from Earth. And the timing couldn't be better. NASA's Dragonfly mission, a nuclear-powered rotorcraft bound for Titan, is scheduled to launch in 2028 and arrive in 2034. It needs this kind of data. Knowing how clouds move when storms hit and what chemicals are present will directly inform how Dragonfly navigates and where it explores once it arrives. All of this is a reminder that cutting-edge science doesn't just happen in space. It happens when ground-based observatories like Keck and space telescopes like JWST work together. And it happens when we treat places like Titan not as distant curiosities, but as worlds worth understanding. Impulse Space has raised $300 million in fresh funding as it ramps up vehicle production and expands into electric propulsion. It was built on the $150 million raised last year, and it gives the company a significant runway. Impulse is under contract to deliver over 30 space vehicles across commercial and defense sectors with a backlog approaching $200 million. That includes Myra, a small maneuverable space tug seeing growing demand from defense customers, and Helios, a larger transfer vehicle designed to move payloads from LEO to GEO and beyond. On the commercial side, Impulse signed a deal with SES to use Helios for a 2027 mission. Impulse is working with Anduril to equip Myra with mission software aligned with the Space Force's increasing focus on space defense and orbital control. The company is also positioning itself for future NASA contracts, including roles in Mars and lunar logistics missions under discussion for fiscal year 2026. More cargo for the Moon and Mars. A major part of the new funding will support electric propulsion R&D, aiming at enabling long-duration, high-delta-V missions. Momentum is building fast. With contracts across both commercial and national security sectors, Impulse is scaling now to stake its claim as a core player in the future of in-space transportation. That's it for today. Before watching the bloopers, remember to smash the like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm, and this is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. Link is in the description and in the card you should see now. Also, check out our print store at shop.whataboutit.space to buy a picture for your favorite wall. And if you want to learn about SpaceX's Raptor engine and how it is completely revolutionizing spaceflight, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. More storage? Or it's maybe? Only to produce blah, 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 blah. Each new molecule. Distant curiosity. Yep.